So I put this together to try to wrap up what Keystone finally paid for to have repaired. As you remember, from other videos, if you've seen them, you've seen where when this thing is hooked onto the truck, this would separate. This would actually drop down from the wall, and there'd be a gap in between the seal. So Keystone, had agreed, if there was a problem, to go get it checked out. I took it to 2 RV sites, repair places that they said to take them to, and they both came, there's no problem, just put more screws underneath. They put the screws in here, tightened that back up, put more sealant there, said okay, you're good to go. But as soon as they put it back on the truck, the gap would show again. Still working with Keystone, which has been fantastic on this thing. They suggested taking it to RV Country here in Mesa. That's where I'm at now. They took one look at this thing when it was hooked onto the truck, said, yep, we know exactly what's wrong with it. We see these quite frequently, and we'll take care of it. So they submitted the paperwork, got all the parts in they needed to get, to take care of this thing, and here we go. So what they have found, as you can see, I have a new seam here, right here, on the bottom of this, the front bedroom slide, and if you can see it at the top also, there's a seam. So they took off this section of the wall. They cut it, removed that front section of wall. They also had to loosen the cap and rock out the cap to take care of this. When they did that and looked at the structural beams in here, they came back. I was getting information. I tried to get photos from them, but they didn't have any they could share with me. And I wish they could have, because we'd had it. But they found every beam in here, the welds were broke, every one of them. And they said that's because of the slide. It weakens this part of it. When they make the slide, they have to re-engineer the wall, and it's not a great design. So every one of these beams in here, the welds were broke, so they re-welded up all the beams in this. Then they turned and actually put double gussets on all of the joints too, and welded those in. So that whole part has been, strengthened up. Then they put this new skin on, and they added the new decals, and here we are now. So when I did that, as soon as I hooked that onto the truck, transferred the weight off of the landing gear, and transferred the weight to the truck, absolutely no movement on that seal to the wall, none. So they absolutely knew what was going on. They also had pulled off the belly plate here and looked at all of the welds, all the structural engineering down there, and there was no problem down there. So they didn't have to do anything to the underneath of the structure. They were prepared to if they had to, but they did not need to. So something to look out for. So if you do, when you have these, the Keystones, and you go ahead, and when you have the weight of the rig on the truck and off of the landing gear, if you see a gap form here, if there's if this changes, I didn't even have a 1/4 of an inch gap. It wasn't much of a gap at all, but I did have a gap that would form. Have it checked. If you're still under warranty with Keystone, with their frame and all that, more power to you to get it taken care of. But again, this thing here, they found every support in there. The welds were broke. Critical, because this thing takes a lot of impact here when you're going down the road. And every time you hit a bump with a truck, or if you hit it with the RV, either way, when they're both going to hit it, that's a lot of pressure that's going on these. And because of that slide, the re-engineering they did, it's not able to stand up to that kind of an impact. So, and as the RV Country folks here said, they see a lot of these, they do a lot of these repairs, they're fully aware of it. So if you have to get it done, I would actually make the time to come to Mesa hit RV country and let them take care of it. They got the experience, they got the know-how. They got my rig on Monday morning. It was Friday noon. It was actually Thursday night they were done, but so Friday about noon I went and picked it back up. So it took them 4 days. I could have got it Thursday night, but it wasn't convenient, so we held off until Friday noon. So, but anyway, I'll give you an update. It was a great, highly recommend RV Country. When you're doing these kind of repairs, they know exactly what they're doing. So, good ending to a sad story. So, have a good one.